Hi and welcome to tutorial 2. The purpose of this short tutorial is to help you develop formal writing skills, which, as we saw in tutorial 1, are an important aspect of academic writing. After completing the tutorial, you should know what we mean by a formal writing style, how to write in a more formal style, and what to avoid when writing in a formal style. As the name suggests, formal writing uses formal language, but students often make the mistake of writing the way that they would speak. When you're writing in an academic style, you're expected to use more formal language rather than that sort of casual language that we use in everyday situations. Use of abbreviated language like the kind that you might use when you're texting is definitely not acceptable. To get a better understanding of this, compare these two sentences and think about how they differ. You can pause the video while you do this. Basically, the two sentences are saying the same thing, but the informal text has a much more sort of casual and conversational word choice, using the phrases shown in bold. The formal text creates a more academic sense, using more formal language such as exerted a dramatic influence. Here's another example. You can pause the video again while you think about how the two sentences differ. Again, these two sentences are saying the same thing, but the informal text uses everyday language, as shown in bold, and the formal text uses more sort of complicated language. Achieving this formality in your writing isn't easy, and it can be extremely daunting at first, but it does come with practice, and you'll get more used to it as you get into your course and read more academic texts. To write in a formal way, you do need to think quite carefully though about the words that you're using, and avoid using everyday conversational language or slang. For example, rather than writing "it'll happen sooner or later," a more formal way of saying the same thing would be "it is inevitable that it will happen." Here are some examples of informal words and phrases and formal replacements that would be more appropriate for academic writing. So rather than saying "this essay has talked about," it'd be more appropriate to write "this essay has discussed." Rather than writing "a lot of," it'd be more appropriate to use the word "several." And rather than writing "the author said that," it'd be more appropriate to write "the author stated." Similarly, instead of writing "one way of doing it," it'd be more appropriate to write "one approach is to." And finally, instead of the word "headway," it'd be more appropriate to use the word "progress." So these replacement words are all words that could have been found using a thesaurus, so it's a good idea to get into the habit of using a thesaurus to help you find the most appropriate wording. As well as avoiding informal words, you should also avoid using what we call contractions. Contractions are shortened forms of words with missing letters that are marked by apostrophes, so words like can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, haven't, those are contractions. Always write out words in full, so you should write cannot instead of can't. Similarly, you should avoid abbreviations such as ASAP or EG. Again, these should be written out in full. You should also avoid using cliches. A cliche is an expression that gets used so much that it's sort of lost its meaning and it lacks originality. The next slide provides some examples of cliches and more formal suggestions, so you can pause the video while you read through the examples. So to sum up, to achieve a formal writing style, avoid casual or everyday language. Don't write the way that you would speak. Think carefully about your choice of words and use a thesaurus to help you identify more appropriate wording if that helps you. And avoid using contractions, abbreviations and cliches. Finally, remember that formal writing is a skill that takes time to develop, and you'll not become good at it until you've got some experience of reading and writing at university. If you want to work on this skill, simple tips to take a few lines from a tabloid newspaper or magazine and practice rewriting them using more formal language.